Hello, welcome to CWI Part B Practical Book of Specification Lecture. This is lecture 19 and I'm going to start chapter 6 today. Chapter 6, the title of the chapter 6 is Performance Qualification Requirements. This is the last chapter in CWI Part B, BOS. So I'm going to read out the specification and give you the explanation. 6.1 General. Oops. 6.1.1 The specification addresses the requirements for welder performance qualification. It does not contain requirements for welding operators, TEC welders, or TEC welders. So this is only qualifies welders qualification, not for welding operator or TEC welder. Only welder. Remember this one, but this is not on the exam, so don't have to worry about too much. TEC welds should be made by welders qualified in accordance with this specification. So TEC welder as well qualified by this welder performance qualification. So if you are qualified welder, then you're automatically qualified for TEC welding. 6.1.2 Welder qualification on 1 WPS will also qualify for welding with any other WPS within the performance qualification variable specified in 6.2. Welder qualification on 1 WPS also qualify welding with other WPS within performance qualification variables 6.2. 6.2 is here performance qualification variables. So if you have 1 WPS qualified by this chapter 6 and 6.2, you can use that WPS in many other areas in the welder and welding qualification. 6.1.3 Completion of an acceptable procedure or performance qualification test shall qualify the welder who welded the test weldment within the limits of performance qualification variables specified in 6.2. A similar sentence as 6.1.2, 6.1.4. Qualification on a complete joint penetration groove weld also qualifies the welder for partial joint penetration groove welds and fillet welds. Qualification on a partial joint penetration groove welds qualifies only for partial joint penetration groove welds and fillet welds. CJP complete joint penetration CJP groove welds qualifies for PJP partial joint penetration groove welds and fillet weld. So if you did qualification test with complete joint penetration, full penetration joint butt weld, then you can be qualified for partial joint penetration, not a full penetration groove weld, as well as the fillet welds. Qualification on a partial joint penetration groove weld qualifies only for partial joint penetration groove welds, fillet welds. Okay, this 6.1.4 is important because this CJP groups qualifies for partial joint penetration, PJP, and fillet welds, just because of this one. 6.2 Performance qualification variables. Changing any variable listed below from that which was used in the welder's qualification test will require requalification of the welder. So any of these 1 through 10 changes requires requalification of that welder. erase this one. So number one is change in wording process except that welders qualified with the GMA, spray, pulsed spray, or globular transfer are also qualified to weld with gas shielded FJ and vice versa. So welding process means SMAW, GTAW, GMAW, etc. Change in welding process requires requalification except this GMA, spray, pulsed spray, or globular to each other, and same thing applies to FGAW and vice versa. Here it doesn't say the short-circuiting transfer mode. If you use short-circuiting transfer mode, you are only qualified for short-circuiting transfer mode, and you're not able to change from short-circuiting transfer mode to spray or pulsed spray or globular. That requires requalification. Number two, the deletion of backing. Deletion of backing means like this. You have groove weld. Oops. Like this, you have groove butt weld. And for welding, you have a backing plate like this, and you do welding like this, so your back bit is very nice and pretty. But if you delete this backing, remove this backing, then it requires requalification. Number three, change in filament F number except as allowed 6.3.2.2. So change filament, so change in F number, that requires requalification. And for more information, you see 6.3.2.2. Let's go to 6.3.2.2. Here it says 6.2.3.2.2. Test shall be performed using filament which has an assigned F number listed in Annex 2. Table 14 provides a matrix. Read that again. Table 14 provides a matrix showing filament which, if used in qualification testing, will qualify the welder to use other filamenters without further testing. A test using a filament that assigned an F number in Annex 2 shall qualify only for that filament. So Annex 2 and Table 14. So changing F number requires requalification. So go to table 14, what it says. Table 14 is here. Rubber filament for performance qualification. Filament used in qualification test, PQ test, the filament you used, and qualification welder qualifies the welder to use the filament listed below. So F number 1 through 5, the F number used in the test, and any lower F number. So for example, if you used F number 5 filament, you can use F number 4, 3, 2, 1, 2 is not existing. And F number 6, if you used F number 6, then you are qualified only for F number 6. And Note A is deposit solid bare wire which is not covered by an AWS specification but which confirms the A number. Analysis in Annex 1 may be considered classified as F number 6. So solid bare wire not covered by AWS specification is considered as F number 6. Okay, then let's go to Annex 2. What it says in Annex 2. Annex 2 is here. Annex 2 is F number table. Like here F number and AWS specification. and AWS classification here again. So F number 1 through 5 up to here. So for example, if you use F number 5, EXXX 15, XXX 16, XXX 17. If you use those filamenters, then you can use all of these filamenters. If you use this number 5 filamenter, and if you use number 3, this one, 2 is existing. Number 3 filamenter here, then you can use this, and these filamenters. Not here. You cannot go upward. Higher F number. And if you use this F number 6, then you are qualified only for this F number 6. You are not able to use this F number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 without the requalification. Okay. This was filamenter qualification. And number 4, a change in base matter except as permitted in 6.3.2.1. Okay, let's go to 6.3.2.1. Here, I'm gonna erase other things. 6.3.2.1 qualification is valid only for methods having the same m numbers except as otherwise permitted in table 13. So qualification for m number qualifies only same m number but except otherwise permitted in table 13. Let's go to table 13. Table 13 is right here. The first rule is the same m number. So if you use m number 1, you are qualified for m number 1 only, but the exception is in the table 13. Here, table 13. Allowable base matter for performance qualification. The test wordment material. And qualifies for production wording materials. So this is PQ test, and this is production wording. If you used m number 1 through 11 in the PQ test, you are qualified for m number 1 through 11. So if you used m number 3, then you are qualified for m number 1 through 11. Same thing, if you use m number 5, you are qualified 1 through 11. Again, if you use m number 11, you are qualified for m number 1 through 11. So I'm going to show you the actual question about this m number. So m number question is like this here. The welder is qualified for M1. Which of the following M number is not allowed for production welding? Welder is chapter 6 and M number 1. So welder is used M number 1. Then which of the following M number is not allowed for that welder? When he is welding, he or she is welding, then M number 1, like here, M number 1 qualifies M number 1 through 11. So simply you choose M number 3, no. M number 11, no. M number 8, no. Which no means qualifies with M number 1. But M number 21 is not qualified by this M number 1. So this is yes. So choose M number 21. Very simple. Okay. Go to number 4. A change in base matter except as permitted in 6.3.2.1. Oh, we just covered this one. And number 5, for GTAW, a change from alternating to direct current or vice versa, or change in polarity. So in GTAW, from alternating current, AC to DC requires requalification, and vice versa, same thing applies. DC to AC requires requalification and polarity. Polarity is DCEN, means electrode positive. Electrode, spelling E missing, okay, and this positive is polarity. And another one is DCEP, electrode negative. I'm sorry, this is not positive. What am I writing? This is positive and this is negative. This positive and negative are polarity, and changing this polarity and vice versa is this requires requalification. Number 6, change in position from that qualified except as permitted in 6.3.2.3. Position qualified only that position, but exception is 6.3.2.3. So let's go to 6.3.2.3. Test coupons were in the specific test coupons qualified whether to weld plate or pipe permitted in table 15. So test coupons where the specified test position qualifies whether the plate or pipe permitted in table 15. Let's go to table 15, what it says. Table 15 is here, says position limitation for performance test, table 15, plate group. So plate group, you used position 1G. 1G means one group. Then qualified position is in group word you are qualified for plate and pipe over 600 millimeter outside diameter, flat. And in flat word, plate and pipe flat and horizontal. If you used 2G in test position, you are qualified for flat and horizontal, and flat word, flat and horizontal, plate and pipe for flat words. Same thing here. If you used 2G, 3G, and 4G in the qualification test, PQ test in the position, you are qualified in group word all positions and flat word all positions. This is table 15. So here another one, next column, next line, plate fillet. This is plate group word CJP joint, and this is plate fillet partial joint penetration. If you used 1F, this group word, you're not qualified. None of these group words are qualified, but fillet word, if you used 1F, you are qualified. F flat, 2F flat and horizontal, 3F flat and horizontal vertical, 4F is flat horizontal overhead, 3F and 4F used. Then in the production wording, you are qualified for all positions. Pipe group word. And see note A and B. Note A is Welders qualified on tubular product forms may weld on both tubular and plate in accordance with any restriction on diameter contained in other position of this document. So if you're qualified for tubular product, then you're qualified for tubular and plate. And note B is see table 9. Table 9 is 13, 12, table 9 is here. Limitation for performance qualification on groove welds in pipe and tube. Okay, well, I will cover this table 9 after this 15. And this 15 says pipe groove weld. If you used 1G in the production, the PQ, procedure qualification test, then you are qualified for groove weld, flat and fillet weld, flat and horizontal. If you use 2G for pipe groove weld, in the groove weld you are qualified for flat and horizontal, and fillet weld, flat and horizontal. These two, difference between these two is outside diameter. And the last one, pipe fillet weld. If you used 1F in the PQ test, you are qualified for F only. If you used 4F in the PQ test for pipe fillet weld, you are qualified flat, horizontal, overhead. 5F, you're qualified for all positions. Note number C is flat, F is flat, H is horizontal, V is vertical, and O is overhead. And note D is welding test position definition are as defined in AWS A3.0 standard welding terms and definition. This is table 15. And table 15 is very important. You need to know how to read this table, because reading this table is in the actual CWI Part B examination, but not a difficult question. Okay, let's go to number 7. Change in vertical weld progression from up here to down here or vice versa for any paths except root passes that are completely removed by back gouging or finer passes used to dress finer weld surface. So changing vertical weld progression, what it means is here you have two plates, plate joint here, and you weld up here, vertical up here. This is vertical up here, and downward is vertical down here. And change from up here to down here, or vice versa, down here to up here, requires requalification except root pass and finer pass. For GMAW, a change from spray transfer, globular transfer, or pulsed spray welding to short-circuiting transfer or vice versa. GMAW, gas metal arc welding, change from spray transfer, globular transfer, or pulsed spray transfer mode to short-circuiting transfer or vice versa. So spray, globular, pulse to short-circuiting requires requalification, and the other way, short-circuiting to spray, globular, pulse, spray transfer mode requires requalification. Number 9, for GMAW or GTAW, omission or addition of consumable inserts or deletion of root shielding gas except for double welded butt joint, partial penetration groove weld, fillet weld. So GMAW, GTAW, they use additional filameter, especially for this GTAW. So additional consumable inserts requires requalification. Same thing, deletion of deletion of this additional consumable insert is requalification. And this deletion of root shielding gas is like this. We have butt joint like here, not for carbon steels, for stainless steels and low alloy steels. This butt joint, if you weld root pads, oxidation is occurring, so this part, backbead part, and usually this backbead is oxidized. So to prevent this oxidation, you use this shielding gas, which is called back purging and backing gas, something. So you use backing gas or shielding gas for back purging, then you can prevent this oxidation backside. And deletion of this root shielding gas requires requalification, except this double weld butt joint. Double weld butt joint is like this. Here. So once you weld this root part, using back gouging, you remove about this root pass. Then oxidation is gone completely. So you use the other side root pass and finer pass. So oxidation does not occur. Number 10. Change in thickness or diameter from that tested except as permitted in table 9 and 10. So thickness change or diameter change except as permitted, table 9 and 10. Thickness change, diameter change requires requalification, but table 9, next page, table 9 here, limitation for performance qualification and groove welds in pipe and tube. Except this one. Test weld mount. This is PQ test, outside diameter and thickness column. This is PQ and this is production wording. So outside diameter less than 25 millimeter. Minimum outside diameter qualified is groove weld, size weld, which means 25. If you use 20, then groove weld's diameter qualification is only 20. Fillet weld, no limitation. And outside diameter 25 through 73, then minimum outside diameter is 25. So if you use the 50 millimeter of the outside diameter of the pipe, then minimum qualification of outside diameter is this 25. And fillet weld, no limit. Over 73 millimeters of outside diameter, if we PQ test, something like 80 millimeter, the minimum qualification of the outside diameter is 73. And fillet welds, no limitation. And thickness limitation is here, less than 19 millimeter. The maximum deposit thickness for the groove welds is 2T. 19 times 2 is 38. So the maximum qualification of the thickness of the less than 19 millimeter for the PQ test is 38 millimeters. And fillet welds, no limitation. 19 and over. So for example, you used 40 millimeters of thickness in the qualification test, then the maximum deposit thickness in the production welding is unlimited. So small t means the thickness of the weld deposit excluding reinforcement. So thickness of this small t is this is base metal and this is weld metal, and this part and here above the outside surface of the word and inside the surface of the word, excluding this reinforcement. This is reinforcement, external reinforcement, and this is internal reinforcement. So without this gray area, only this word thickness. This is small t. For GMAWS, the maximum word matter thickness qualified shall not exceed 1.1 times the thickness of word matter deposited by GMAWS process in the qualification test for base matters 10 mm thick and greater. Sidebands are requalified for GMAWS. What it means is, this is very important because this is in the actual CWI Part B examination. If you use GMAW as means short circuiting transfer mode, maximum word matter thickness qualified is shall not exceed 1.1 times the thickness of the word matter deposit. So this is PQ test. And this small t, let's say the small t is 20 millimeter. Then the maximum word matter thickness qualified for the production wording is 20 times 1.1, which is 22 millimeter. I'm gonna use the calculator if the calculation is right. Twenty times 1.1 22. 22 is right. And next is for base matter thickness 10 millimeter thick and greater, side band tests are required for GMAWS. I said this is important. And table number 10 is limitations for performance qualification in plate groove welds. This is plate groove welds, and this upside is groove welds in pipe and tube. This is plate. The test wordman thickness T, large T, this is PQ, and this here qualifies for plate is production wording. If you use the plate thickness less than 19 millimeter, the maximum thickness of the qualification for the production wording is 2T. So if you used 15 millimeter thickness of the PQ, then the maximum qualification for the production wording is 30 millimeter. And fillet weld size is unlimited, and if you use thickness over 19 including and 90 millimeter, so such as like 30 millimeter, the maximum deposit thickness qualification for the production wording is unlimited, and fillet weld size is unlimited. Note A, the qualification on plate will also qualify for groove welds in pipe over 600 mm in diameter. So the plate qualification will also qualify for groove welds pipe over outside diameter 600 mm. GMAW S, which means GMAW short-circuiting transform mode. The maximum word meter thickness qualified shall not exceed 1.1 times the thickness of the word meter deposited by GMAW process S process. And here sideband test required, which is same as this one. If you use GMAW, the maximum qualification for the production wording is 1.1 times of the word thickness. Large T is thickness of the test wordment base matter, and small t means thickness of the word deposit excluding reinforcement. Okay, let's go to 6.3. We already covered many things, many numbers in 6.3. 6.3.1. Qualification by standard test. Qualification requires completion of a standard test wordment in accordance with a qualified WPS evaluation of the test wordment by the method listed in Table 11 and acceptance of the wordment in accordance with the criteria of 6.4 examination acceptance criteria. The number of band tests required for each position and product from form is shown in Table 12. So qualification requires completion of standard test wordment in accordance with this qualified WPS evaluation is as per Table 11. Table 11 is next one, and 6.4 acceptance criteria. The number of band tests required is in the Table 12. So Table 11 is examination requirements for performance qualification. So type of test, visual examination, radiography, RT, and band test. The tube or sheet less than 2 mm. Group word, visual examination, yes, but radiography, RT, and band test is not required. Pipe or plate equal to or greater than 2 mm. The visual examination for group word required, and RT is required, but note A. Let's see note A, and band test is yes, but note A and B. Note A is radiography. RT may be substituted for banding test for the SMAW, GTAW, GMAW, except short-circuiting and FCAW processes as applicable for qualification. SM, GT, GM, the RT can be substituted by this band test except this FCAW process, except and short-circuiting transfer mode. And note B is see Table 12. Table 12 is here. Number of band test performance qualification. Band test for 1G, plate 2, if you used pipe, 2 band test, and tube, 1G, 2 band test required, and sheet, also, if you use 1G and sheet, 2 band tests are required. For 4G, if you used plate 4G, 2 band tests is required, and for sheet 4G, 2 band tests are required. 6G, if you use plate, none, and pipe, 4 band tests are required, and for tube 6G, 4 band tests are required. Okay, let's go to 6.3.2 test wordment. We covered this 6.3.2.1 and 6.3.2.2 F number, and 6.3.2.1 is M number, and 6.3.2.3 is position. We covered all of this. So let's go to 6.3.2.4. One or more wording process may be qualified on a single test wordment. Multiple worders may be qualified for a specific portion of the test. Failure of any portion of such test wordment constitutes a failure for all process and worders used in that test wordment. So by this single group test wordment, this root paths performed by word number 1, and the second pass and third pass is word by word number 2, and this final pass is qualified by word number 3. This is possible, but any of these word number 1, 2, and 3 fails the qualification test. This all qualification test is not acceptable. This is 6.3.2.4. Table 13, we covered this table 13, I explained it, and table 14, as well as this table 14, we covered it. And table 15, yes, we covered this one. I explained this table 15 position. Let's go to 6.4, performance qualification acceptance criteria. 6.4.1, visual examination procedure and acceptance criteria shall be as specified in the following paragraphs. Visual examination shall be followed by the 6.4.1.1 visual examination procedure. Test word may be examined visually at any time and tests terminated any stage if necessary skills are not exhibited. The completed test word shall be visually examined. The test word may be examined visually at any time, and anytime you can terminate. If you're the inspector, you can just terminate the visual examination if you don't like this wordment. Six 6.4.1.2 Visual examination acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria for visual examination of standard test plate and pipe wordment shall be as follows. Number 1 is no cracks or incomplete fusion. We know what is incomplete fusion because we covered chapter 3. Number 2 is no incomplete joint penetration in group words except where partial joint penetration group words are specified. So no incomplete joint penetration. Incomplete joint penetration is I'm gonna show you this schematic pictures. Inadequate penetration without high-low is something like this configuration, and I'm gonna show you the RT. Oops, what's going on? Hold on a second, please. Again. The touch screen is not working. So inadequate penetration here, and incomplete fusion is like this. The open area, the not filled area exposed to the surface. This is incomplete fusion. And undercut depth shall not exceed the lesser of 10% of the base metal thickness or 0.8 millimeter. So we have wordment and undercut, something like here. undercut right here, and the depth of undercut here shall not be less than 10% of the base metal thickness. Let's say base metal thickness is 10 millimeter, then 10% is 1 millimeter undercut, but or 0.8 millimeter. This 0.8 millimeter is smaller than this 1 millimeter, so we pick this 0.8 millimeter. Number 4, face reinforcement. Face reinforcement or root reinforcement should not exceed 3 millimeter. So this is here. Word mount like this. Then this is face reinforcement, and this is root reinforcement. So face root reinforcement and root reinforcement shall not exceed 3 millimeter. Depth of the reinforcement shall not exceed 3 millimeter, and no single pore exceeds 25 millimeter diameter. We have a plate and weld mount like here. Then single pore like this. The diameter of single pore should not exceed 2.5 millimeter. Six point 4.2 bend test. Bend test requirements and acceptance criteria are as specified in 5.3.1 parenthesis 2 and 5.4.2. We just take the acceptance criteria of the chapter 5 bend test. 6.4.5 performance qualification documentation. Qualification test for each welder shall be documented for both acceptable and unacceptable tests. There is no required format for welder performance qualification test record (WQTR). Any WQTR form may be used. See Annex 9 for a suggested format. The documentation shall identify WPS. Number 2, address each of the qualification variables in 6.2 requalification. Number 3, identify test and examination method used and result. And number 4, identify the limits of the qualification for the welder. So I'm gonna show you this Annex 9. Annex 9 is very next page. Here, this is 8. Annex 9.